6,000 years ago, a hunter moves silently through the dense forest. The light filters through the canopy, casting beams of gold on the ground. Wrapped in animal furs, he clutches a spear, its sharpened tip ready for the hunt. His dark eyes, sharp and alert, scan the world around him. A world called Doggerland, a vast plain soon to vanish beneath the rising sea. Millennia later, fishermen off the Dutch coast pull ancient bones from the depths. Fragments of Doggerland's lost people. Among them is the skull fragment of a hunter. From it, a story emerges etched in his DNA. His genes link him to the resilient ancestors who once roamed these lands, enduring harsh conditions, and to modern Dutch people who carry traces of this ancient lineage. At the end of the Ice Age, the first humans arrived in what is now the Netherlands. These Mesolithic pioneers, part of the Western hunter-gatherer population, carried maternal haplogroups U5 and U4, and paternal haplogroup I2. Fascinatingly, genetic studies of bone fragments recovered from the Dutch coast have revealed that these early inhabitants were dark-skinned, reflecting adaptations to their environment, though blue eyes were not universally present. This surprising finding challenges long-held perceptions of early European populations. These pioneers lived in a land vastly different from today, known as Doggerland, where the North Sea was a dry plain teeming with game. Herds of aurochs and wild horses roamed the expansive plains, while hunter-gatherers tracked game trails that today lie beneath the waves. Genetic adaptations, such as efficient protein metabolism, helped them thrive in these harsh conditions. Around 7,000 years ago, Neolithic farmers from Anatolia brought transformative changes to the region. Introducing agriculture, they carried genetic markers such as paternal haplogroups, G2A and E1B1B, and maternal lineages like K and N1A. These migrants settled along rivers, cultivating wheat and barley, and establishing the foundations of settled life. Their lighter skin and darker hair contrasted with the indigenous population. Today, up to 50% of Dutch ancestry can be traced to these early farmers, who profoundly reshaped the genetic landscape and laid the groundwork for later societies. By 2500 BC, the Bell Beaker culture swept into the Netherlands, originating from the Iberian Peninsula and Central Europe. They arrived primarily in the fertile lowlands and river valleys, where they established settlements. They brought advanced metallurgy and the R1b haplogroup, now dominant in Dutch males. Their arrival marked significant physical changes, with traits such as taller stature, lighter skin, and an increase in lighter hair and eye colors becoming more prevalent. A 2018 study in Nature linked their genetic markers to these transformations. The Iron Age brought Celtic tribes, such as the Batavi and Eburones, to the southern Netherlands. These groups carried haplogroups R1b, which dominated male lineages, and I2, a remnant of earlier populations. The Batavi became renowned for their later alliance with the Romans, providing auxiliary troops that played key roles in imperial campaigns. Germanic tribes in the region introduced haplogroups I1 and R1a, laying the foundation for genetic diversity that would persist into later eras. The Roman Empire expanded into the southern Netherlands in the 1st century BC, establishing Germania Inferior as a frontier province. Romans introduced haplogroups J2 and E1b1b, associated with Mediterranean ancestry, though the extent of this genetic influence varies significantly by region and is less well documented than their cultural and infrastructural contributions. Cities like Nijmegen became vital hubs for trade, military operations, and genetic exchange, reflecting the diverse population of the Roman Empire. While the genetic influence of Roman rule was modest compared to its cultural and infrastructural contributions, southern regions exhibit slightly higher Mediterranean genetic markers, highlighting the enduring legacy of this era. The migration period brought Germanic tribes like the Frisians, Saxons, and Franks, each leaving distinct genetic and cultural legacies. Haplogroups I1 and R1a were introduced, linked to Northern and Eastern European ancestries. Frisians preserved strong ties to earlier populations, with the R1bu106 haplogroup found in 42% of Frisian men today. These tribes laid the groundwork for medieval Dutch society and its enduring genetic and linguistic diversity. Vikings raided and settled along the northern and coastal regions of the Netherlands, leaving a genetic imprint visible in haplogroups I1 and R1a. A 2020 study highlighted small but significant contributions of Danish Viking ancestry, particularly in the north and west. These Norse influences played a pivotal role in shaping Dutch maritime traditions. During the 17th century, the Netherlands emerged as a global power. Trade and colonization brought genetic contributions from Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Immigrants from Europe, including Sephardic Jews and French Huguenots, further diversified the genetic makeup, especially in urban centers like Amsterdam. Recent studies have identified significant regional genetic differences within the Netherlands. Northern Netherlands, dominated by haplogroups I1 and R1bu106, reflecting Frisian and Scandinavian influences. A 2020 study published in Nature Communications confirmed that Friesland retains a high frequency of haplogroup R1bu106 at approximately 42%, supporting its historical connection to Germanic tribes. Southern Netherlands, Greater Celtic and Roman genetic markers, including R1b, U152 and J2, illustrate the historical influence of Roman settlement and Celtic migrations. Urban centers, the most diverse, shaped by centuries of trade and migration. Haplogroup diversity in cities like Amsterdam includes contributions from Sephardic Jews, Huguenots, and colonial-era populations from Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Studies indicate that urban areas show higher genetic admixture compared to rural regions. Dutch surnames often reflect the influences of various cultural groups that have shaped the region's history. Germanic origins, surnames form the backbone of Dutch surname tradition, reflecting the practical and descriptive nature of Dutch society. They often reference geographical features crucial to Dutch landscape and water management. Some surnames derive from the father's given name, using suffixes like sen, sz, or s, meaning son of. Viking Norse-influenced surnames have their roots in medieval Norse contact and settlement, particularly in coastal and northern regions. French and Walloon heritage also played a significant role. These surnames were introduced into Dutch society mainly by Huguenot refugees fleeing religious persecution in France during the 16th and 17th centuries. Spanish influence is another historical layer. During the Spanish Habsburg rule from 1556 to 1648, surnames of Spanish origin entered the region, representing both direct Spanish heritage and Dutch adaptations of Spanish names. Jewish communities also left their mark. Jewish surnames reflect the influence of both Sephardic and Ashkenazi traditions, often linked to religious roles, places of origin, or Dutch adaptations of names. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep dives into history, linguistics, and culture. From ancient civilizations to contemporary traditions, we bring you the stories behind the names and places that shape our world. Click the subscribe button and embark on this journey through time with us.